We are going to start like we normally start with just a minute or two up and down the back on the foam roller to get into some relaxation. So let's start with that. Traveling up and down that upper part of the spine. Actually, I just need to make sure everyone is muted, but go ahead and start your foam rolling. Okay. So we are foam rolling up and down the back. So today is called Treat the Feet, and I really hope it feels like a treat to everyone. It should. What I like about today, well, there's a lot of things I like, but if any of you have a significant other or friend who would appreciate like a foot massage, there are some things you're going to learn today that could possibly help you give someone else a treat for their feet. So and we'll be practicing those things on ourselves. So today we're going to, as usual, work on areas that aren't directly the feet, because things that are adjacent to the feet have to do with the feet, mainly the calf muscles. So we'll be working in the calves down to the feet and then into the toes at the end, getting everything nice and loose and relaxed. So we're going to start with the calf muscle, and we have done this one before. So just a refresher here, we're going to be working on the calf muscle from just below the knee all the way down to the ankle. I'm going to take my socks off because we won't be needing our socks today. So we're going to be lying on the ground, foam roller perpendicular to your calf muscle. And let's start with it underneath the left calf. So what you're going to do is just lie there and then take that left foot like a windshield wiper back and forth. And if you're like me and you want to feel a little bit more pressure, then all you need to do is drop that right leg, add some weight on top of the left leg, and then you'll really feel that foam roller massaging the calf muscle as you rotate that left foot back and forth. So let's move down an inch or two, different part of the calf muscle. And we're just going to work from that spot right below the knee all the way down to the calf, incrementally, just kind of rotating that foot left to right. So like I said, this is a foot class. What are we doing all the way up in the calf? Well, if you take a look at the anatomy, all these muscles that you're feeling under the foam roller right now, not all of them, but many of them actually travel and attach on the bottom of the foot. So when they get tight in the areas that you're feeling right now under the foam roller, it pulls on the attachments that wrap around under the foot, and then the foot feels tight. So it's important to kind of take an approach that's not just working on the foot itself. All right, let's switch to the right calf muscle. So you're going to go not directly behind your knee on the right knee, but just below it. And then act like your right foot's a windshield wiper, right? You're just kind of going back and forth, rotating that foot left to right. And what that does is just massages across that calf muscle. And move down just an inch or so. And move down another inch. Like I said, some areas may be really sensitive and you can't really handle a lot of pressure, but if you feel like you want more, you can just drop that other leg on top of your right leg and you'll instantly feel a little bit more pressure through that calf. Move it down just a little bit more towards the ankle. Okay, let's take some deep breaths. We haven't done that yet. It's important to breathe, especially if we're working, if this is sensitive on you. It's important to breathe through it. Shouldn't be excruciating, but it might be a little sensitive. So deep breaths. Okay, so now we're going to take a chance to stretch out those calves. And we are going to head to a wall and step your right foot back behind you. Really pretend like that right heel is just glued to the floor and that right knee is locked out straight. If you don't feel a stretch, then you can lean in towards the wall even more, but keeping that right heel planted firmly on the ground behind you. So let's hold that stretch for a few seconds here. And now let's switch sides, plant that left heel behind you. Step forward with that right foot and feel that nice stretch in that calf on the left side. So just like I was talking about, the calf muscles wrap around to the bottom of the foot. There are muscles, particularly around your shin, that actually go to the top of your foot. So now we're going to pay attention to that. We're briefly going to use the foam roller on the shin area, and then we'll work into some massage aspects of the top of the foot. So let's go ahead and get your foam roller. We're going to be on the chair. Now I want you to be as relaxed as possible with this. Your forearms are going to be on the chair. You can even kind of just rest your head like this, whatever's most comfortable for you. But essentially, you're going to be going from just below the knee all the way down to the ankle. Now, there's a shin bone, which really, there's no need to massage that. So you want to kind of twist your foot so you get more a little bit on the outside of that shin where the actual like muscle is, where you would get shin splints if you got shin splints. So a little bit to the outside of that shin bone. Because like I've talked about before, massaging on bone doesn't really do much. We want to try to make sure we are on the muscles. So we're just going to go back and forth a little bit here on that shin muscle before we get into massaging the top of the foot, where the shin muscle actually attaches all the way down on the top of the foot. So we're going to go ahead and switch legs, switch to the other shin. So a lot of times we think about foot pain or foot massage, and it's at the bottom of the foot, which feels wonderful and is important to pay attention to. But honestly, there's a lot really happening on the top of the foot too. So I'm trying to give you a full picture today because we are going to work on that a lot, as well as the classic bottom of the foot massage that you might typically think of. So this area, especially if you can do a lot of walking, and if you happen to not have the right shoes on, maybe you're at work or something and you don't have your walking shoes on, this shin muscle and the top of the foot can get really tight. So tuck that away for future reference. So let's work into, I'm going to show you a picture now. I'll share a screen about what we're going to be doing on the top of the foot. Okay. Just a second here. There we go. So let's look at the ducks. So the ducks, think about ducks have webbing in their feet. That's why I put ducks in this picture to the left here. So you see how there's actually a lot of muscles on the top of the foot, right? It kind of, you like feel your foot, and you might think it's just bone, but we're going to start where the ducts are in the webbing of the feet and work our way up towards the ankle. So that is going to be our focus right now. And I want you to get in whatever position. If you're comfortable just sitting on the mat, that's fine. But if you feel like you want a little bit more support, you can sit in the chair. But essentially what we're gonna do is start at that webbing area between your toes and take your fingers down in between those bones that you can feel in the top of your foot. Just doing little pincher grips like that. Nothing intense, but what you're working there is what you've stretched and what you massaged with the foam roller on the shin. That's where these muscles attach. So you can do little pincher grips starting at the little ducts, right? The webbing of your feet and moving up towards the ankle, or you can just slide up. But either way, that's important area to massage to get the top of the foot there. And then once you've done a couple times between one webbing area, you can move on to the next two toes and pull. And you can feel, if you start in that little rubber ducky webbing area, then you're not on a bone. You can feel that you're kind of in between the two bones on your foot heading up towards your ankle. All right, so this is something that you can do and giving yourself or someone else a massage. Start right in between those toes, and then you can drag straight up towards the ankle. So work your way all the way across your foot, and that with those pulling back from that webbing area to your ankle. And then what we're going to do is take your hand, place it on top of your foot. So you want to put like your toes right at your wrist and place your whole hand on top of your foot. And then what you're going to do is pull. So like you're trying to double your toes over, like you're trying to get your toes to touch the bottom of the foot. And what that's just doing is stretching the top of your foot. So you're trying to get your toes to kind of curl under your foot. Oh, so we're just going to hold that for a couple seconds here. Deep breaths. Let's see if I can get a little closer. We're going to do this again on the other side. All right, so now we're going to take other foot and we're going to start at the rubber ducky, the webbing in that foot between your feet there, and just place all four fingers there and either slide up towards the ankle, or you can do like a little pincher grip and move up towards the ankle kind of inch by inch. Either way, you're getting into those muscles that you saw in the picture that I showed you. And that is really helpful if this area of your foot's feeling tight. Or just relaxing if you're doing it to yourself or someone else. Okay. So just keep working across your foot in this way. Telling you, if you remember the things that you learned today, you can make someone's day, right? It can be who doesn't like a good foot massage? I've met a few people in my day as a massage therapist who can't stand having their feet worked on, but it is really few and far between. Because generally most people love it. Okay, so now we're going to do that stretch again. So you're placing your hand top of your whole foot here and just pulling the toes like you're trying to curl them under your foot, like you're trying to get the bottom side of your toes to touch the bottom side of your foot. Probably none of us are that flexible, but just to give you a reference point of how you're moving your foot right now. And you should feel a nice comfortable stretch across the top of the foot where we just kind of worked in between those bones into those muscles. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do, keep holding this stretch. We're going to work into the bottom of the foot next, and then we're going to end with some things on the toes. If I've been wondering why you had to have a spoon today, that is what is coming up next. So I'm going to show the picture to you again so you can take a look at what we're going to do. Okay. All right, so you see this picture on the right with the arrows and the dots. Right now, don't pay attention to the arrows, just worry about the dots, the black dots. So this is the bottom of the foot, and we're gonna be traveling from just where the toes meet the foot, all the way back to the heel. This is what the bottom, there's actually 4 layers of muscle in the bottom of your foot. This is just one of the layers, but the spoon we're going to use to travel in a path from the feet, the toes rather, all the way to the heel. So I will show you what that looks like and explain why the heck we're using a spoon. So get back here. All right, so grab my spoon. First of all, how are we going to hold the spoon? We're going to hold the spoon. I think it's easiest just to kind of put your thumb in that part of the spoon. And we're going to be going like this, just down and those black dotted lines, generally speaking, that area. So this is something, if it's too ticklish for you, some people really don't like this because they do have extra ticklish feet, then I'm going to recommend you just take 2 thumbs and travel down those same pathways where those dotted lines were, but just do static pressure and press on dots or press on spots that are about 1/2 inch apart in that same black dotted line path that you saw in the picture. But if the spoon is okay for you, the spoon is a really, so why are we using a spoon? There are a couple different places in massage therapy where it's used. It's actually used in scar tissue healing. Most simply put, it just helps to bring some blood to the surface and some circulation into the area. And we are using it in a gentle way. So you're not digging into your foot. This should not hurt. This should feel relaxing to you. And sometimes you'll feel like a little gravelly area, like it feels like there's more bumps under your foot. You can kind of concentrate on that area and do a little bit more strokes there. But generally speaking, this is kind of just like a nice warming up technique to the next thing we're going to do. This brings a lot of circulation to the muscles and underlying structures in the foot here. And it's very easy to do, right? We're not exerting ourselves a lot. We're just kind of stroking down the foot. So now what we're going to do, set the spoon aside. I'm going to show you the picture one more time, just because we're going to use our thumbs together in a different pattern on the foot. And this time when you see the picture, what you're going to pay attention to is the red arrows. So now you can see how there are arrows going from the big toe all the way to the small toe and then traveling up that side of the foot and then going around the heel and then coming up the arch of the foot all the way to the big toe again. So that's the general path that we're going to travel in with our 2 thumbs together. So Let me show you what I mean by two thumbs together. That just means when you're pressing, you're not pressing in the spot with one thumb, you just have the thumbs touching each other like that. So you're going to be taking your foot in your hand, same foot we just used on the spoon, and traveling, and you're going to move about a ½ inch at a time, but just traveling in the path that the arrows were. So you're traveling from your heel all the way through the arch up towards your big toe. And then once you get in that fleshy area below your big toe, you're going to travel over, still moving just like a ½ inch at a time and pressing in towards your pinky toe. And then you're going to move down towards the outside of your foot all the way to the heel. What happens when you brace your thumbs together, and the reason we're doing that versus just one thumb at a time, you can certainly just use one thumb at a time if you want, but it's just a lot easier on your hands if you have both thumbs touching each other. It makes it less work, which means we can relax more, which is what we like to do, right? So the three things I've told you already: massaging the top of the foot, the spoon, and then what we're doing right now. If you do only those three things for yourself or for someone else, guarantee after even just 5 minutes, you're going to feel more relaxed, or they'll feel more relaxed. These are some really key areas in getting the foot to relax. Okay. And this is something, again, we could do this for 10 minutes on one foot, right? I mean, it feels good. But we're not going to leave our other foot out. So let's bring up the other foot and grab your spoon again. So remember the black dotted line starting from the base of your toes all the way to your heel. So we're going to start with that again. And just a gentle dragging of the spoon. And like I mentioned before, if you're extra ticklish and this just feels a little bit too ticklish, you can do the two thumb method, kind of moving in the same pattern in the same direction, just pressing down and moving down like ½ inch by ½ inch down that black dotted line that we saw in the picture. Let's take a couple deep breaths. And just notice today after this class how different, if your feet feel different. They may feel like they're buzzing a little bit, or they're just more connected to the ground, or just looser. But pay attention to how you feel, and if you like this one, definitely come back to it. I think it'd be really helpful to do these things once in a while. All right, let's set the spoon aside, and we're going to travel on the path of those arrows. So we're going to take two thumbs together down by the heel and travel up through the arch, moving up towards the big toe, just ½ inch at a time, pressing in with both thumbs at the same time. Edges of the thumbs are touching each other. And then once you get up to that big toe area, you're moving across the ball of the foot there towards your pinky toe. And once you get to below your pinky toe, then you just start moving directly down again towards the heel. So let's do this for a few more seconds, and then we're going to finish off with the toes. So the toes can actually get, like the joints in the toes can actually get pretty tight sometimes and pretty stiff. And that ends up causing some foot pain and tension. So I'm just going to show you a couple things you can do to get that to feel more relaxed as well. All right, and we're moving down the foot. Pinky toe to heel up the arch to the big toe. Okay. All right, now you're going to use the same foot. I'm going to have you hold hands with your foot. There's two different ways you can do this. So some people find this uncomfortable, but you're actually going to, if it is comfortable for you, put your fingers in between each of your toes, like you're holding hands with your toes. If you find this uncomfortable, like maybe your feet are really tight, then you can just simply grab around your toes. Like you don't have to do the interlocking part. But if the interlocking part, like getting your fingers weaved in between your toes, does work for you, it is a nice way. Even just doing that in and of itself is a stretch. But once you get that position or just grabbing on top of your toes, we're going to do a mobilization, which is just taking your whole foot in a clockwise circle. But since you're grabbing onto your toes in this way, it really ends up being that you're moving your toes and your toe joints in that circle. And that is a wonderful way to release any sort of joint tension that you have in the toes. Now let's take it the other way, counterclockwise. So you're still holding onto the toes, whether you have your fingers interlocked or you're just holding onto the toes themselves. And you're taking a counterclockwise circle, making your whole foot go in a counterclockwise circle as big as you can. But since your only grip is on the toes, it ends up, like I said, being joint movement in the toes. Let's do that on the other foot. Grabbing in between the toes, making a big clockwise circle. And now counterclockwise circle. Okay. And we're going to do one final thing here. So, you know, when you have a toothpaste tube and you're trying to get the last out of it, you start at the bottom and you pull up to the top of the toothpaste. We're going to do that with our toes. So we're going to start at the pinky toe, the base of it, where it attaches to the foot, and just gently squeeze and pull up until your fingers just come off the top of your toe. And we're going to go slowly through that with each toe. So you're just pulling up. Shouldn't be uncomfortable. So you're not squeezing literally like you would on a toothpaste tube, but enough that's you can feel a little bit of a stretch and a squeeze, but you're not in pain or anything like that. This is just a nice way to stretch out those toes. All the way over to your big toe, grabbing it at the base and squeezing and pulling up to the toenail and off the toe. Let's do the other foot. Squeezing at the base of the pinky toe and pulling up past that toenail and off the tip of the pinky toe. On to the next one. Okay, you're going to be walking on sunshine today. I know it after this. Really good for the feet today. Thank you, everyone. We're going to get together on Saturday and go over hips and knees. Should be a great, relaxing class for everyone, as usual again. So hope your feet feel great. And I will see you then on Saturday.